Throughout these 5 days of the seminar, we have learned a lot about both the technical terms and the simple facts about a One Health approach. But to sum up of the approach again, so would you mind explaining us what One Health is in a simple terms so that we can understand?
One Health started 20 years ago, and it was a very simple concept at that time. It was public health doctors and veterinarians working together that then realized that actually what we do is quite similar. So they started calling it One Health because it was human health and animal health. And then they started realizing, actually, when we started working and thinking about it, that both human and animal health are also affected by our environment and the health of our environment. So this was included in this approach called One Health, which was more holistic because it now included not just human and animal, but also the environmental health. And what we've seen in the last few years is increasingly that One Health is broader even than that, because animals are kept by people, it affects their livelihoods, it affects their health, it affects society, the way we farm animals, the way we use our land, everything is interrelated. And in fact, issues like biodiversity loss, changes in land use, and indeed climate change, long-term impacts like that are all a part of One Health because everything is affected by each other.
So in One Health, there are many areas of health issue. So what are the health issues that are being addressed in this One Health approach?
Well, initially and traditionally, again, it was mostly infectious diseases that were of concern, and the reason it was concern both to human doctors as well as veterinarians is because we are dealing with animals with diseases that have potential to cause big outbreaks, as we've seen, and that cause a lot of damage. And so this is where the concern was. And in fact, what we've seen in the last 20 years is an acceleration of this kind of events happening. And indeed, as we know, COVID-19 was a fantastic example of this kind of new emergent disease, which is caused by close contacts between humans and animals in an environmental population with wildlife. And so, yes, that is really a strong driver for the development of One Health.
So in this sense, can we say that One Health has been applied for a long time now, for 20 years, as you said, but because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the approach has been talked about again and will be talked about for a longer time because it's really important. Can we say that, sir?
I would agree with that. Certainly the visibility and the profile of One Health has really expanded hugely in the last 5 years with the COVID pandemic and particularly areas which before did not really know about One Health. And we're talking about policymakers, decision makers, and many sections of society that weren't familiar with this concept of One Health have now become familiar with it.
So during your presentation, you said that most infectious diseases are originated from this region. And by this region, did you mean Asian region or Asia-Pacific regions?
Well, what we talk about is disease hotspots. And these are areas in which we talk about interfaces as well. And by an interface, we mean a contact point. Infectious diseases emerge when they can switch between different types of populations. That's how new infections develop, or existing infections can become modified so they can spread more quickly. And so in the areas of the world where you have close contact between humans and animals and wildlife, those tend to be the areas in which we tend to see most of these new diseases emerging. Southeast Asia is generally considered to be a hotspot because we have a fairly high density of populations. We utilize wildlife quite a lot, and there's a lot of contact with domestic animals too.